The three angels' messages is the everlasting gospel. I'm going to try to make this as very simple as possible. It's found in Revelation chapter 14 verses 6 to 13. Please read it, read it, read it. Now, what does everlasting gospel mean? Everlasting means, first of all, it has no beginning and it has no ending. No beginning and no ending. It does not change. If it has no beginning and no end, that means it does not change. It's the same gospel yesterday, today, and forever. It's like God, the everlasting Father, who gave it. Genesis chapter 21 verse 33 and Isaiah chapter 40 verse 28 talks about the everlasting God. God is everlasting. Jesus Christ is said in Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8 is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 says, I am the Lord, I change not. So God does not change. Jesus Christ does not change. And that is good news. That's what gospel means. It means good news. So we're talking about the everlasting good news. Now the gospel commands all nations to worship God. That's Revelation 14 verse 6 and 7. So it describes in verse 12 these worshipers. Verse 12 now says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. So these patient saints keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. It is the second angel's message that says that Babylon is fallen, is fallen. Babylon is the one who changed the everlasting covenant. Isaiah 24 verse 5 and 6. Let me read that to you. It says, Isaiah 24 verse 5 and 6, the earth is also defiled under its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, the curse has devoured the earth, and those who dwell in it are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men are left. The new wine fails. The vine languages. You see how this Isaiah 24 ties into the second angel's message? It is Babylon that changed the ordinances and broken the everlasting covenant. And that's why the curses come upon the earth and the world. It says the new wine fails. Babylon has a wine, makes all nations drink of it. And that's intoxicating. The wine in the Bible represents doctrine, by the way. That's what it's talking about. Wine represents the teaching. And so now, this has changed the whole Christian world. The false gospel, Babylon's gospel. Now let's go to Galatians chapter 1 verses 6 to 12 and see how the gospel has never changed. The same gospel that the apostle Paul preached. Galatians chapter 1 from verses 6 to 12 says, I marvel that you are turning away so soon from him who calls you in the grace of Christ to a different gospel, which is not another, but there are some who trouble you and want to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel to you than what we have preached to you, let him be accursed. Verse 9, he repeats the same thing. As we have said before, so now I say again, if anyone preaches any other gospel to you than what you have received, let him be accursed. For I do not now persuade men or God. Or do I seek to please men? For if I still please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. But I make known to you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached by me is not according to man. For I neither received it from man, neither was I taught it, but it came through the revelation of Jesus Christ. So, if any preacher is not preaching the everlasting gospel of the three angels' messages, let him be accursed. This ties perfectly in to Hebrews chapter 4. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 1 to 12 says, therefore, since a promise remains of entering into his rest, that's what the gospel gives, rest, let us fear, lest any of you seem to have come short of it. For indeed the gospel was preached to us as well as unto them. The same gospel in the Old Testament is the same gospel given in the New Testament. It's the everlasting gospel. But the word which they heard did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in those who heard it. For we who have believed do enter that rest, as he said. So I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. So it goes all the way back to the foundation of the world. This rest, this gospel rest. For he has spoken in a certain place of the seventh day in this way. The seventh day rest. That's the Sabbath rest. Continuing verse 4, and God rested on the seventh day from all his works. And again, in this place, they shall not enter my rest. Since therefore it remains that some must enter it. And those to whom it was first preached did not enter because of disobedience. Again, he designates a certain day, saying in David, today, after such a long time as it has been said, today, if you will hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. For if Jesus had given them rest, then he would not have afterwards spoken of another day. There remains, therefore, a rest to the people of God. Here is the patience of the saints. Revelation 14 says. Now verse 10 says, for he who has entered his rest has himself also ceased from his works as God did from his. Let us therefore be diligent to enter that rest, lest anyone fall according to the same example of disobedience. For the word of God is living and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the division of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. That's the first angel's messages. It's pointing you to fear God and give glory to him, because the hour of his judgment is come. And it includes all 10 commandments. And we just talked about the fourth commandment. That is how worship is connected to the 10 commandments. The patience of the saints. Here are they who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. Luke chapter 4 verse 16 talks about Jesus. His custom was to enter into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he stood up to read the Bible. And that is what we all ought to be doing. Fear God. Keep his commandments. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 13 and 14 says, this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And he's going to judge us. So, what is the three angels' messages? Is the everlasting gospel. And I just explained to you the first angel's message and what it includes. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. And then John heard a voice from heaven saying to him, write, blessed are they who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. May this DVD, now this YouTube presentation, I should say, be shared with every nation, kindred, tongue, tribe, and people, to all nations.